office.
Hello and welcome everybody to Connecting in the Clouds. I am with Shannon and Amy as always, and today we have Peter Rising as our special guest. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. I think Amy, you missed, or Shannon, you missed our premiere on Twitch.
I did. That's exciting, though. Like,
we've got a Twitch channel and a YouTube channel. So
yeah, why not? Why not?
So got them all covered. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our first guest on Connecting in the Clouds. We've been doing it off the cuff on our own here for the first couple of episodes, but now here on episode 3 we decided to bring some guests into the fold, and we'll continue to do this going forward, just so that we're not just talking amongst ourselves and boring people with our lives. Right. So Peter, why don't you get, I know a lot of people that are probably going to listen to this know who Peter Rising is, but why don't you give a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Dwayne. And thank you all for inviting me to be your first guest. I'm very, very honored. But hi, everyone. My name is Peter Rising. I'm Microsoft MVP based out of the United Kingdom, the northeast of England. I'm currently in my little outdoor shed office on an uncharacteristically warm day for the UK. It's very warm. It's probably in the sort of late 19 degrees Celsius. I'm no idea what that is in Fahrenheit because we measure it differently. But
it's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah, that seems warm.
It really is. So I'm a little bit sweltering, but all is good. I'm happy. So I work as a consulting services manager for Insight, who are obviously a global organization, and working in security and compliance with all of our customers. And I'm very, very passionate about evangelizing all things Microsoft in terms of security, compliance, identity, management, privacy, if you want to go on and on. And I have my own YouTube channel as well, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit, where I try and pass on what I've learned, and along the lines of my channel motto, which is a bit cheesy, but I love it and I live by it, which is learn, share, and repeat.
Aw, I like that.
No, that's very, very, very nice. I don't think we have a motto yet for Connecting in the Clouds, do we?
We'll come up with one. That'll be our North Star.
We'll have to come up with one. Yes. Well, yeah, great. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, like you said, I follow you. I've been on some of your other video casts with and for Cloud Connections, and everything that you do for the community is amazing. I wanted to sit down before I took the beta test for MS-102 and do your videos, but I just ran out of time and declined. but if I don't pass the beta, I will be going back to your videos for that. but yeah, I mean, that one of the things that Shannon and I and Amy were saying before you joined was we wanted to have you on here because you build such a great following on all of your YouTube channels, and always seeing the barriers that you're breaking in terms of number of subscribers and everything like that. And with our little video cast that's now like a month old, we've got a full, I think, 6 followers on YouTube. And so and I think one of those is probably my channel. It's probably me clicking on that just to add one on there. So but how do you do it, Peter, from a standpoint of getting your ideas out there, deciding, hey, I'm going to do a YouTube channel on this, and then building the following. It's just amazing how you continue to hit these high levels of subscribers in the YouTube world.
Oh, well, thank you. But I think the secret sauce to it so far that I found, and I'm learning as I go still, is just being bolshy and being a little bit pushy and not being afraid to put myself out there and be a little bit pushy on LinkedIn and Twitter and say, hey, I'm here. This is my channel. This is what I'm trying to do. I genuinely want to help people, and I'd love it if you could help me to reach more people by hitting that subscribe button, hitting the thumbs up, the notifications bell, and you just got to keep at it relentlessly.
True.
You really do, and market yourself is one of the tricks. But I've been very fortunate in that I've had some great guidance from other members of the community who've paved the way before me. I mean, I'm sure you know about Andy Malone, who's a fellow MVP here in the UK, and he's been doing his YouTube for a very, very long time, and he's just hit 60,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, I believe, which is amazing. That's amazing. He very kindly reached out to me a few months ago and said that he wanted to help me, and he was impressed with the journey we'd been on with Cloud Conversations, which is the other YouTube channel that I'm part of, to take it to the next level and get some more subscribers and more views and that sort of thing. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I talked to Andy before, and he'd been a guest on our show. But for him to be so generous with his time and to reach out and say, hey, if you got some time, I'd love to give you some help, because somebody did that for him way back when. And now his channel is at a point where he is happy with where it's at, and it's continually growing, and it's and he's been able to monetize it and things like that. And superb, absolutely superb. So, and the thing that he hammered into me when we had our conversations before I started this new channel, which you're kindly sharing on the screen now, is the key is persistency and consistency. To keep on going, have a consistent message, don't give up. In the early days, it might seem like, oh, nobody's watching, I'm not getting the views, I'm not getting the subscribers, why am I doing this? But if you have that mentality, it's not going to work. So you need to push on and keep going. And there are lots of little tips that Andy gave me along the lines of thumbnails matter. So having a good thumbnail design will attract people to your videos. The title of the video as well, the hashtags, playlists, all of that sort of thing, so people can find the content that you're sharing on your channel easier. And it's going to take time and patience and a lot of hard work to build that audience and get them to know and trust you. So that's where I've got to with this new channel, and I've been super amazed actually how this newer channel, Peter Rising M365, has taken off. I've been going on it for about 2 months, and I think I'm up to something like 2210 subscribers.
Yeah, it was I was just noticing when I was grabbing. Yeah, I was noticing when I was grabbing the site. Yeah, you're up to 2200 subscribers,
which is mad. I don't know how that's happened, but I really don't. I'm very humbled and honored by that. And one thing that stuck with me though, I sort of ended up here accidentally in a way, which, hey, happy accidents are the best type, aren't they? Because Cloud Conversations, which is the first channel that I launched alongside Rue Campbell, Azure McFarlane, Kat Beedham, and Femke Cornelissen, who are all wonderful fellow MVPs, is all about the human side of us, this community, the MVPs, and who we are and what we do, and having interviews and conversations like this, like what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I was very passionate about that. I wanted to talk openly about not just people's career journeys and the technical expertise, but also well-being, mental health, diversity, women in tech, that sort of thing. And we've successfully done that, but some of the viewing on that has not been tremendous. And my wife reminded me that people come to YouTube to learn. That's their primary reason. So I thought to myself, yeah, you're not wrong. So we'll keep going with Cloud Conversations. It's on sort of a organic hiatus right now because everyone else is so busy and I'm so busy focused on this new channel. But I want to keep them both going and make them as successful as they can possibly be. But yeah, I go to YouTube to learn things. It's my favorite way to learn. Some people are more will read things. I like to learn by video. I can watch somebody like a John Saville or an Andy Malone sort of writing things down or going through the Microsoft portal, and I'll pause it at points and I'll switch screen and let me try that. Exactly. That works for me, and it's been so great. So yeah.
So how do you? I'm curious how you carve out that time, like you said, consistency is key, and you have a day job. So how are you and a wife?
Yeah, do you get up at like 4 a.m. to do this? Like I'm curious too.
I don't.
What's your
I get up about 6 a.m. every day.
Okay.
And for my day job, I don't necessarily work a strict 9 to 5. So I get up at 6. I probably wouldn't choose to, but my wife's an early riser, so once she's up, I'm up as well, and I'm grateful for that because it gives me a good 2 hours to have a couple of nice coffees and just sit and chill before my 2 boys wake up, and I can do a little bit of work on my laptop in that time and get 2 hours of good sort of replying to emails and doing anything I need to do for my work, some scope of works and webinar prep and that sort of thing, because my day job is just as mixed and chaotic as anything in the community. So then I've got to take my oldest son, George, to school around just after 8 a.m. and it takes me about, on a morning, about 35 minutes to drop him off and get back home. Afterwards, I'll maybe get into this garden office, which I have, which is detached from the home, which is a godsend. It really helps me to focus and separate my home life from my work/community life.
I'm very jealous of that.
I know.
Because our HOA would never allow that.
I know.
It's changed my life so much because during pandemic times, we have a small house, and they were hard times because the boys were at home, school was cancelled, working from home. There were times when I was working in my bathroom with the door locked, with a folding chair and an ironing board as a desk. And
why is it so echoey?
Yes, exactly. If you look back at some of the very early episodes of Cloud Conversations, that's where I am. And you can tell sometimes. Because if I'm not careful, the way I position myself, there was a toilet right behind me, and occasionally you could see it if I moved the wrong way.
I'll have to go back and look at some of those episodes.
Yeah. So this is luxury. Changed my life. It really has. But I get in here and I'll think, I haven't got any. It all depends on my meetings because I guess for you three, it's probably very similar to me. But a lot of my day is taken up with Teams meetings.
Yep.
One after the other,
thing.
and I try and put some focus time in here and there. And if I get to a point where I think, oh, I've got about an hour here, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. I'll just think, right, I'll record something. And I'm quite lucky in the sense that I seem to be able to just go and I'll think, oh, where am I up to in this MS 102 exam series? Oh, right, yeah, it's DLP today, and I'll just run and I'll record it and just talk. I don't plan it whatsoever. I just start talking, and
awesome.
That's actually the easy bit. Because there are some pauses. I probably should do a blooper reel at some point of all of the tongue twisters that I get into. Like now, DLP is part of Microsoft Purview.
Yeah.
And I get really sort of wound up, and I pause for a few seconds. So when I'm editing, there's an obvious gap in the bits that go along your audio.
Right.
So I can cut and splice and then put some nice effects in for subscribe and here's how to reach me on Twitter. So the editing bit's the bit that takes a long time, but I can do that on a night time when. But I do have to say, I have to give my lovely wife Louise a massive plug and a shout out and a thank you, because she does all my thumbnails and she does a wonderful job on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's super talented because by profession she was a web designer, which is how we met. Way back when we worked for the same company, and she no longer works at a full-time job. She's now a full-time carer for my youngest son Oliver, who's got very severe autism and is at home all the time. So we fit everything in around day jobs and school runs and a challenging youngest son, and it's interesting.
Sounds like you're a good team, though.
We really are. We really are. We have ups and downs. We have some difficult days. Today we've both been a little bit tired. We woke up and I don't know if there's pollen in the air today or something. And
probably it's that time of year, right?
Yep.
Throaty and a bit heady and a bit tired and really ready for a weekend. So
right. Oh. In the US, we get a long weekend too, so I'm looking forward.
Well,
to
you know,
Likewise,
folks in the other,
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
they
able
got,
to
they
do
got
that
a
parts of the
bank
world.
holiday as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just found that
nice.
out earlier this
We
morning.
do.
Yeah, there is a
Cool.
bank holiday in the UK. I think
We
in
have tons of
Europe
them
as well.
lately.
You have tons
Yeah.
of holidays. Like,
Yeah.
I know. We get really the short end of the
we
stick
get
in the US
10.
with
It
holidays.
I feel
seems
like
like
the
you
UK
do,
gets
yeah.
like
But
30.
in sort of Easter and then May, and then we had an extra one for the King's coronation just the other week, and the two that we normally get in May, and then we get a really long Christmas off as well, which I know you guys don't, but I guess you get Thanksgiving, so
Yeah, like
maybe
2
that.
Aren't you and isn't next week like a like I know some of my UK coworkers are off next week because it's a UK like semester break for
It is.
school
Oh,
Yeah.
as
cool.
well.
It is,
So
yeah. So my
schools are
oldest
out.
son George is on holiday next week. He's got that half term, as we would call it, over here. And he's actually, it'll be very welcome for him too, because he's in the middle of his big exams. He's in his, I don't know what I guess in the States it would be graduating high school.
Okay.
He's in
Is it
what we call
A-levels or-
GCSEs.
Okay.
They're called over here, General Certificate of Secondary Education, that stands for. So he's got he's been doing 2 weeks of those exams. He's got a week break now, and then he goes back for one more week of those exams, and then he's done. School is over, and then it's out into the big wide world for him, into college or university or an apprenticeship somewhere. He hasn't decided yet, but he's got plenty of time.
I heard those are pretty intense. My husband had to do them, and his sister as well. And he remembers like his sister just crying, getting ready for these exams. Like, he's like, it's not like what you have here in the U.S. So I'm like, oh, okay.
That sounds grueling. That
Just
sounds
have
They are very
finals.
intense.
Yeah, we got you got a week of finals for each class, and then you all you got your
Then you get out.
SATs or you got your SATs or to prepare to get scores to get into university, but nothing that's a 2-week exam. That sounds like a studying for like the legal boards or medical boards or something like that.
And it seems like he has so many as well. I'm asking him when I'm driving on the morning, what is it today, George? He said it's German today. I said, well, didn't you already do that? And he said, like 3 different exams in each subject. It's like,
man.
When I did them, there was like one maths exam, one English, one geography. Now there's like several for each subject. It's crazy.
Gosh, man.
I'm glad I'm an adult. There, we have our own problems, but the schooling the schooling is something else.
Yeah.
I used to think that I used to think that like adults had this glamorous thing, and then as I became an adult, I realized it's just different. Like your parents don't tell you what to do, but the rest of the world does. So, and it's not like a stern, you got to do this. It's like if you don't pay your mortgage, the bank will come and you know what I mean, like those types of things. And so being an adult is not nearly as glamorous as I thought it was when I was probably your son's age.
It's way overrated, isn't it?
Right?
Right.
100%.
I'll go back to school. I know.
But I'd happily go back now.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Someone pay my bills.
Don't we all go? We all are in school constantly anyway. So
and
being in technology, we're constantly in school. It's just not 2 weeks of exams.
Right.
Thankfully,
unless we choose to.
unless we have a lot of exams that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Peter, you brought up an interesting point. You brought up your son, which I know we me and you have talked quite a bit about. And last time I was on Cloud Conversations, you were about to launch another YouTube series or podcast with someone else to talk about mental health.
That's right.
And I did want to bring that up and just see how that's been going and how that's been received as well in terms of your community activities, not just in tech, but also around other areas of mental stability and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's gone really well. It's something called the Microsoft Community Wellbeing Check-in is what we call it, and we try and do it monthly. And I organized it as a meetup group on meetup.com, and we host it on Teams with a wonderful fellow MVP in the UK here, Jessica White. Jess, hey Jess, if you're watching. And we've done only 2 of them so far. I think we're all so busy that we found it hard to find the time to do it so far. So we've had 2 events so far, and then we had all those bank holiday weeks that came up. So people are on holiday. So we're going to try and do another one in June. So we had the launch event, which was just a general intro and explaining to the attendees what it was all about. And then we had the last one where we had a guest on from stateside, wonderful guy called Arthur Dola, who I don't know if you've come across before. And he talked about his particular journey with mental health. And Jess and I were part of at MVP Summit recently, we were part of a panel discussion about imposter syndrome. So we've decided that when we do the next one in June, that's going to be our theme for the month. We're going to talk a bit more about imposter syndrome and allow people to share their experiences on how that's impacted them. So we do it monthly on Teams. We don't record it because of the sensitive nature of the discussions. We have a code of conduct at the start, and we reassure people that we're in a safe, private space. Anything that you talk about will be respected and confidential, and we expect everyone to be kind. So yeah, definitely. And my Teams just suddenly whizzed across my screen there. And
speaking of
weird, there we go. That was
I mean, everybody follow Peter on all of the socials, and you can find out when that is, because I think that's a great initiative. I know it's something that everybody, especially working from home is a completely different animal that we've all been have to deal with and have to and it's fun to not have to drive an hour to an office. I don't know what it's like where you're at, Peter, but I know in my area, in the Detroit area of Michigan, and Amy and Shannon around Chicago, that could be, you could spend half your day driving
and upset. Driving and upset,
and angry,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And
that's not a good combination.
Yeah,
I try to listen to audiobook.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do, definitely. But I don't miss commuting by car to work. I'm very lucky. I've not had to do it for a very long time. The last time I had to consistently do it was probably way back in about 2016, and I had a sort of a 1 hour each way commute every day, and that's exactly what I did. What you described there is I just listened to podcasts to pass away the time, because a lot of the time I was spent sitting in traffic and waiting for it to move. It's no, I don't miss it whatsoever. On the rare occasions that I have to travel for my job these days, I will try and take trains rather than. We're lucky that the UK is small enough that we can do that for most journeys. So where I am in the northeast of England, it's about 2.5 hour train journey to London, which is nothing.
But it's relaxing, right? You sit down, get your tea,
it's dead easy to get to London. And so I'll get me about 5:58 a.m. train, and then I'm in London by 9 o'clock. So sorry, Glenn, what were you going to say?
Well, yeah, we've thought. Sorry about that. Yeah, we've thought about doing that, just to go to Chicago, get on the Amtrak, and
that's not as nice as
we'll come to you, Dwayne. If you make the effort, we'll come find you, because it's probably easier to get to you than it is to get to us, especially if you're taking a train. So and I mean, we don't live that far from each other, and it's funny because I was just thinking about the other day, like I haven't actually met Dwayne in person. But I've known Dwayne for years now at this point. Thank you, COVID. Thank you, COVID.
Right. We have to go to a conference.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm going to reinforce next month, and I'm actually meeting people that I've been working with for the past almost a year now that I have not met in person, because there's people actually coming from Paris and the UK.
Nice
to be there, because we have some big company announcements at Reinforce. So and I'm doing a presentation there. So yeah.
I don't know if you heard, Dwayne, we're not going to go to that one. We might go to reInvent.
Gotcha.
I think we might go to Reinforce next year.
You know where you need to go? I'm going to be speaking at GurCon in October, which is in Grand Rapids, which is kind of midway.
Yeah. That's a lot close. I mean, that's like 3-ish hours, right?
It's probably 3 for you. It's 2 for me. It's two for me. So, but yeah, Peter, you mentioned speaking at conferences and things like that, and those are always, and that's something that when we're thinking about working from home and everything, good opportunities to actually meet people now. and now that they're starting to open up and things like that. What where might people be able to meet the great Peter Rising in the near future? What do you have coming up in terms of any conferences and things? I know there's ones coming up in the UK, like Scottish Summit and things like that, but I've seen a lot out there. But what do you get involved in usually?
Well, I'm going to be speaking in June. I think it's June the 21st or 22nd, around there, at Commsverse, which is a big one that's been run very consistently in the UK for a few years now by Mark Vail, Randy Chapman, and a couple of other guys whose names will not come to me right now, and I'm so sorry. But a really great team of people, it's sort of a Teams and UC themed conference, hence Commsverse.
Okay.
But it's broader than that, as these things often are. So I'm going to do a talk on cybersecurity there, M365 related. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I've never been to that one before. And that's hosted in the south of England at Mercedes-Benz World in Weybridge, Surrey, which is quite the experience, apparently. You can go around the track in a Mercedes.
Oh, wow.
And,
that's super cool.
Sort of thing. So what's really cool about it is it's my chance to meet a lot of great folks like you from stateside, because a lot of people from the States come over for that one, which is great. Because at the minute, with my son being as compromised as he is, Oliver, it's very hard for me to travel longer distances. I can manage the UK at the moment, but anything beyond that, I don't see happening for quite a while. So it's great that so many of you come over from the States to the UK, and I get to meet you all that way. So, so I'm looking forward to meeting some folks for the first time who will be at Commsverse, and then I may or may not be at Scottish Summit. I don't have a session there this year. I might try and get there. It's funny, Scottish Summit this year. It's actually Scottish Summit on tour. They're in Manchester this year. Which is going to be a bit different. But I will definitely be in October at South Coast Summit in Southampton, which is one of my favorite events. I love that one so much. It's run by the fantastic Aaron Rendell, another MVP, and his colleague Nathan Sweeney. And I spoke at that one last year, and somehow I ended up doing 5 sessions. I don't know how that happened.
Just accidentally.
I'm definitely not doing that this time.
It's exhausting.
That's all on the horizon at the moment, and that's enough, I think, because really at the moment the focus is definitely the YouTube channel. That's number one priority, because I want to get more content out there and help people to learn and do lots of different interesting stuff.
Definitely.
The call for papers or videos is open for Azure Back to School that I'm doing again in September as well. If you want to contribute a video to that, my annual event that I that myself and Derek Smith put together to educate the community over September.
Nice.
Fantastic.
A little bit different in the States. Summer ends in September, and everybody goes back to school, so that's why it's Azure Back to School. That's the story behind the name. And I wanted to, when I first started getting involved in the community, I wanted to do something like what Joe and Thomas do with Azure Spring Clean, and what Peter and Gregor and Richard do with Festive Tech Calendar. That was like my first community activity, was getting involved in that. So I'm like, hey, there's nothing like towards the end of the summer. Hey, let's do something, between like all the conferences that are June and July before the conferences in the fall start and things like that. Let's do that.
That's a great idea. I love that. Fantastic.
It'll be the 4th year we've been doing it, and it's been growing every year. I think last year we had like over 70 videos that videos or blogs that were posted over the course of the month. So like more than 2 a day, a day, and good. Gets different people out out. It's one of those like Festive Calendar. Everybody gets accepted. Put in a paper.
Brilliant.
Call for speakers, and we'll find a place to schedule you. So
gotta send us that link. I'm learning about all these new opportunities.
And is that purely virtual, Dwayne?
It is.
Yes, it's purely virtual. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Shannon's helped.
I did, and then I became really busy taking care of a little guy. Now that he's getting a little older, I've got like a little bit more time. So I'm starting to think about like that much, and I'm starting to think about contributing back, because it's been a bit. I kind of went into hibernation, and then my last job was very heavy on content, so I didn't spend as much time on the community, just more on the concentrated content. So. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. I mean, I don't know if you ever, it sounds like Peter, you didn't submit something before, so you should definitely submit something.
Yeah, I don't think we've
take
had
a note of that
before.
link, and I shall check it out. I would love to.
Yeah, it's a sessionize driven. So you'll just, when you go to this site, you'll find the 2023 call for speakers on there. And
cool. Yep, I see it.
Yep. Really
nice.
Yep. And, yeah. Nick's done it before, Amy. So Nick's
he has. And I think he did it. I think he did it the first year I did it.
Yeah, first year.
Correctly.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely submit. And it's great.
You got some nice branding there on your polo shirt there.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's something I've not got around to doing yet. I've not done anything like T-shirts or stickers or anything. And
shout out to Vistaprint. They
nice.
Good stuff. Very very quick and very cost effective. If you just want one shirt or a couple of shirts, it's very it's no different than going and buying a polo shirt at the store. So it's not anything outrageous. You don't break the bank for a nice embroidered shirt too. It's embroidered lettering and everything.
Brilliant. I'll just look into something like that. It looks
I just ordered an Azure Back to School shirt for this year too. So.
Oh, that's cool. It's nice and embroidered. I was like, wow, Dwayne, this is awesome.
I went on a logo spree the last few months when Amy, Shannon and I were talking about connecting in the clouds. We went and got a logo. I'm like, I'm going to update Captain Hyperscaler's logo. Oh, I got to update Azure Back to School's logo.
Refresh time.
I used the same guy that we decided on for this logo. I did all my logos. So yeah, if you look at Captain Hyperscaler, he's been refreshed. He's a much more buff and CGI looking superhero now, rather than the more two-dimensional cartoon that I had previously. So.
Yeah. Have you got new glasses too? They look different.
Yeah, I've changed my glasses as well. Yep, doing some.
He's now Clark Kent, believe it or not. He was Superman before.
There you go. Clark Kent now. Yeah, never seen at the same place at the same time as you.
Right.
My wife calls them my nerdy glasses. We've got proof now that Amy and Shannon are two different people, because we were talking about
we're
talking about
the
fact
time.
that the first couple episodes, like Amy could make one and Shannon couldn't, and then the next one Shannon could make it and Amy couldn't, and so that we were joking around that maybe it's ChatGPT created or something like that.
Yes. No, we're probably out of all of us, obviously Amy and I, we live about 30-40 minutes from each other. But yeah, so but yeah, we're the same. We're different people, but we're not the same person.
But it's funny how our worlds have collided and how we met.
Very much so
with Microsoft and
Well, Shannon's got some big news since the last time we were live.
Yeah. So so Amy's husband is my boss. I work for Nick Collier at Ahead now.
To inner circle even more.
I know, right?
Essentially in the hierarchy then is you work for Amy since
basically.
I
think I did call her the real boss. It was this week or last week. The weeks are all they're sort of blended. It's been a lot of activity, but I think I did call you the real boss because you called him at one point, and I was like, that's the real boss. No worries. You go take that call. He did. I think it was when you guys were because Amy and Nick have been doing a lot of home remodeling, and it was the day you were trying to get into it was the day that you were going to live in the hotel for a couple of days.
Oh my God. I would recommend living in a hotel for 2 weeks when you redo a kitchen and floors. So just a side note.
I know the feeling. We had ours redone. Actually, we had ours redone like about 5 years ago because we realized this week our refrigerator broke that we bought when we had the remodeling and found out that apparently refrigerators are I don't know if this is the same in the UK, Peter, but refrigerators in the US are only really going to last 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. Same with dishwashers. Same with dishwashers. They don't have the same longevity. And so the people that we bought our house from, they redid their kitchen, I want to say like 3 or 4 years before we bought the house. And we've already had to replace the dishwasher. So the dishwasher is kind of the same sort of thing, like 5 to 7 years.
Don't tell me that, because we bought the whole appliances when we did our remodel.
I know. So just knock on wood,
yeah.
cross your fingers, hire somebody to come in and burn some sage in your kitchen.
Yeah, so I had a guy come out yesterday. I had a guy come out yesterday to look at what was wrong with our refrigerator, and he told me it was going to be $2,200 to fix the refrigerator.
It's a new fridge.
And so we were at Lowe's yesterday buying the new fridge. Bought the new fridge, bigger cubic inches, cubic size, and the French door kind, which I liked better, which is what we had before. We had my wife talked me into a side-by-side when we did the remodel. We saw the same side-by-side at Lowe's, and it was half the price of what I was quoted to get the one I have fixed.
Jeez. It's the way it goes.
So if we went like for like, it would have cost us half the price just to get a new one. But we upgraded and still spent less than the repairs would have cost. So. Yeah. With haul away and a 5-year warranty. So that's been fun. So this morning I was emptying the fridge out and throwing stuff in the garbage, which is always fun. Not as bad though when you're home when a refrigerator goes bad.
Yeah.
We were gone for a week when our refrigerator went bad, and you do not want to return from holiday with that smell. We got hit. It's like hitting a brick wall of stink.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound good.
It was not at all opening up our house.
Trying to work
because it was summertime. It was the middle of summer too when we were on holiday that it went bad. It wasn't even cool weather. So
we've been in this house for 10 years, and we bought it brand new. It was a new build, and the freezer is the only thing, touch wood, we've not had to replace in the kitchen yet. Everything else has been changed. We've had 2 dishwashers, 2 washing machines, 2 ovens. So the fridge freezer is the last thing to go, I think.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I jinxed anybody on in this meeting about about refrigerators. I'm gonna be getting angry texts from Shannon and Peter when their refrigerator goes bad.
We just got new stuff.
What's gonna happen.
You got new stuff. Hopefully, you're all right. Well, at least you got manufacturer warranties to hold your hat on.
But the working from home thing, it was like the week of recordings was the week they wanted to refinish the floors. I'm like messaging neighbors, trying to go to the library. It was like the craziest time trying to look like I have my stuff together. I'm in a new room.
I think Nick took one of our phone calls from his car. And I was like, what's this like? Because Amy and Nick, they're fully electric. They have two Teslas now.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's really not as bad as you think. And I'm like, well, you sound like, because I didn't know why he wasn't going on video, because he usually goes on video. And he's like, I'm calling you from my car. And I'm like, what kind of world do we live in all of a sudden? that we can dock in a Tesla. And he's like, it's not that bad. He's like, I'm charging or something. I forget what it was. But you guys got kicked out of I think he said you guys got kicked out of the library because, there were more people to come and you were there for too long already. So.
Yeah, I know. We're squatting in the library. There's a time limit. So
Well, I finally got my internet straightened out right before Global Azure a couple weeks ago, when I was doing a whole bunch of streams and everything. And my internet had been terrible for 2 months, and they finally fixed that, which is another one of those work from home, trials and tribulations that you find out, right? Even if you feel like you have great bandwidth, you might not have it. So
that's why the mental health thing that really resonates with me, because working from home, I do feel so isolated, because conferences were my only way to see people, and then now we really don't have that right now with budget and stuff. So it's like, hi, will someone have lunch with me? It's or just connecting with people going through the same thing.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty cool. So
that's why I'm looking forward to reinforcing some of these other conferences that I got coming up. But a lot of them are in the fall. I've been getting some announcements for different conferences that are in the fall, which is kind of cool. I get to speak at the ISC Squared conference for the Security Congress for the first time after applying multiple times over the years. They have finally accepted me, which is cool.
We should probably accept Dwayne to speak this year,
right? I guess we'll let him in this time. He's very persistent.
That's the key, though. Persistency and consistency.
Consistency and consistency. Yes, the words to live by.
I love it.
Andy Malone for that. That's not mine.
Andy Malone. Very nice. Yes.
So. And repeat.
And so and that's why I think with connecting in the clouds, I already have things scheduled out to like through September. So hopefully we'll maintain that consistency that I have not been able to do myself on Captain Hyperscaler. There was a time when I was doing like a video a week, but it just didn't continue the way that I wanted it to. So so maybe having Amy and Shannon.
We're pretty scary.
Pushing us along. I'm not scared. Not scared of you at all.
Have some backup. Yeah.
Yeah, we got backup
available. Then you got cover. So yeah,
for sure.
Which is what we always try to do in Cloud Conversations. And wow, we've got so many people on Cloud Conversations, and none of us have time to do it anymore. So
that's why I thought the irony of your mental health thing. You're like, we're so busy, we can't do mental health. Wait, you gotta make time.
That's make time for mental health.
Yeah. It's like,
we definitely will. We need to get back into that without a doubt.
Sure. I think
we'll definitely continue to amplify that when you have your next group, because like Amy's saying, that's one of the kind of down areas of working from home is getting isolated. The one thing that I have is especially during the summer, my wife's a teacher, so she's off and here, so I can at least have somebody to talk to, have an adult to talk to. I leave. And my biggest problem is I'm in a basement, so I don't get any natural light. So I go up and I'll sit and eat lunch at the kitchen table to just get light from our door wall, get some vitamin D and all of that. My daughter was doing a job last summer and it was a work from home kind of job, and she tried to work from outside on our deck, on our deck furniture, but during the day everybody's getting everybody's lawn service or they're mowing their lawn, so there's so much noise out there you can't really work outside because you have so many people in the neighborhood working from home.
True.
They're like, oh, I'm gonna mow the lawn during lunch, or
I have to close my door to this garden office when somebody a couple of doors down starts getting their lawnmower out and mowing the lawn. It's like, one of the drawbacks, but especially when it's so warm in here, I'm just
Oh yeah, do you have AC or do you?
No, we don't do that in because we get so little in the way of good weather. We don't really have air conditioning in houses. As a rule.
Then the lawn mowing probably only takes 10 minutes because you only have a square patch of.
pretty much. But people do love their gardening over here. They really do. I mean, I get I have a gardener who comes and does mine because I can't stand gardening. So, and again, I don't have the time to do it.
Right.
We were talking about our garden yesterday.
I don't. Every year I say we're gonna garden, and there's no time. So.
Yeah, I learned a lot about that from my UK coworkers last year when you guys had that really bad last summer when you had that really bad heat wave. Everybody was just melting because nobody had air conditioning, right?
But April Edwards, she has air conditioning in her little shed. She's got a shed set up like yours, and she has AC.
I'm jealous right now.
Everybody at April Edwards' place in the UK.
Unprepared for any sort of weather in this country. We're always caught by surprise by any variation in the norms. So in the winter, if we ever get any snow, it just grinds the country to a halt. Nobody can cope with it. And then we have all our colleagues from Sweden sort of laughing at us and saying, "Hey, do you not have snow tires? This is nothing."
No, we don't.
No, we don't. We're just not used to
it. We laugh at the people in the South. In the Midwest, the same reason when it snows there,
it shuts down everything for what feels like weeks on end. It's not really; it's like a couple of days. I was in Louisville
I was when I was in sales for Microsoft, and everything shut down. We were afraid the customer wouldn't even show up because they shut down campuses, and I'm like,
Mm.
"There's no snow." I'm like, "Okay."
And that's
But
not even that far south. That's just
yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
that's middle America.
yeah, everything shut down, and I'm like, "Great. I'm stuck here. What do I do?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you get south of Ohio and yeah, it's just
Nobody knows what to do. They're like snow
nobody
and
knows what
everything
to do
shuts
when
down.
snow comes.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Although, it's interesting, like Seattle was sort of the same way.
Mm.
When I went out there for Ruddy, like it would kind of freeze. There wasn't a lot of salt because I realized that salt would, it's not really salt. It's like the chemical composition of the salt. It sort of like melts the ice. I can't remember. There's like a whole chemical reaction that happens. But they were like, we don't even have salt out here to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, do you have like a shovel? No shovel. But what's crazy is in the last couple of years here, I think Seattle heat up long before Chicago. They got like to 90 degrees
Mhm.
a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago. And so like former colleagues of mine, they went the route of getting air conditioning. So,
Oh.
and it's like a weird reality because they've never had to deal with it because the weather's very similar to where you are, Peter. It doesn't really get that hot.
Mm.
And when it's hot for like a day, right? But it's not like
Mm.
it's not hot for like an entire week. So former colleagues of mine, they have like cats and dogs and like, maybe older family members living with them. They wound up getting air conditioning. And it was just so crazy because they're like, I've never had air conditioning in my adult life. I'm like, wow, this is so weird.
Right. Yeah, because here you could have the air on and then the heat on.
Yeah.
The same day.
That's
same
like
day.
the same day almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been known to do that in this office. Some days it's so variable. First thing in the morning, it's sometimes really cold, and I've got this
Yeah.
heater I'll put on, and then all of a sudden I'm boiling hot, and then open the door or the window, and
Right.
impossible.
Yeah.
That's where we're at in the Midwest right now. The mornings are cold, and almost like we had a frost warning earlier in the week, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then it's air conditioning weather. It's warm that
Yep.
afternoon. We're supposed to have nice weather this weekend. I don't know if
Yeah, I
Chicago's
saw
the same
that.
way.
Yeah,
We're supposed to be
the
nice
same.
and sunny
Yeah, it's
and
supposed to be
warm.
nice and sunny.
So that should be fun.
Well, we're meant to have more of this sort of weather for the next week, which I'm going to be really happy about because I'm not working next week. I've taken some annual leave, as we would call it. I think you would call it PTO.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
with
Nice.
the kids being out of school and
Yeah,
all
kids
that
being out of
too, right?
school. Yeah, so I thought
Yep.
I will not have time to breathe because George will probably be wanting me to drive him all sorts of places.
Your taxi service, yeah.
For the week. Dad, I need to go to the gym. I'm going out to play football with my mates. So that's what I'll be doing next week.
So my daughter, the best one of the best days. It was like pro and con. I was called the dadager because my daughter was doing theater and choir stuff, so I was always managing her schedule and getting her to her rehearsals and all of that. And then she got her driver's license, and I actually got free time. It's kind of interesting.
I can't wait
not
for that.
not sitting in front of like a school building for wait because the rehearsal's going a half an hour or an hour over waiting for her to come out. So yeah, those are all
Well, sounds
fun
like
times.
podcasts in your future, Peter. If you're driving around.
Yeah, I think
Podcasting.
maybe. I never rule
Podcasting.
anything in a route.
Peter on the road.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe
Yeah,
it's a
there you
new
go.
show, Peter on the Road.
Yeah, I've done walking podcasts before. I've done
Yes, you have. I've seen those.
talking tech. I used to call it on another
That's cool.
another channel that I had somewhere. I've probably got loads
Somewhere.
around.
I've lost track of my content.
Yeah. That's like what I call my personal channel, which is just sort of there by accident, by virtue of it being tied to my actual Gmail account that I use. So I filmed a few random videos on there once, and
That's cool.
they're still there, and people randomly seem to subscribe to that occasionally, even though I've not touched it in years. So.
Nice. I like that tech and talk or tech. And
I love
walk.
that. I love when the people that I follow in the UK do their countryside talk, do their videos and beautiful countrysides and everything. It's like, it makes me jealous. I'll like show my wife. I'm like, see, this is why we need to go to Europe, and she hates flying. So, she's like, I'm not, I can't get, there's no way to get there. I can't get there by car. So
just knock her out. It's an 8-hour flight overnight. Knock her out and she'll wake up and she's like, Heathrow Airport. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so lucky where I live because, I mean, it's a fairly new housing estate. But at the end of the street, if you turn right, there's an old country lane and you can walk up there, and there's beautiful farmland. You can walk for miles. And if you go left, you're on the main road and the shops and built-up area. So really very fortunate.
Nice. That's very nice. Great. Yeah. Well, I think we're closing in on an hour here. So let's wrap things up. Thank you, Peter, for joining.
Yeah, that's
today.
Great.
I'm gonna banner Peter's YouTube again here for everybody. Follow Peter and
like and subscribe.
Yeah,
like and subscribe. Yes,
smash that like button. Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Yeah,
and notifications bell so you never miss a video.
So you never miss a video. And I know he gives great content. He's been focusing a lot on the new MS 102, which is really good for the Microsoft. What is it? Microsoft 365 administrative expert, right? Isn't that what they've renamed it now?
Yeah, MS 100 and 101 are retired and combined into that one. So,
which is good because I could never get through those two.
Yeah,
I missed them both by like 7 points. I got the exact same score on both of them.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I thought that the new exam was much more straightforward than the previous ones. Previous ones just kind of went everywhere. And so I think it's much more detailed and much more honed in on what you need to know. So fingers crossed next month or in July or whenever I get my beta results.
I'm looking forward to seeing so many results from people who've done it, because people have left so many wonderful comments on the channel about how helpful the content has been. So I'm really hoping it has been helpful, and it's
like I said, if I don't pass the beta, it will be helpful for my retake.
Definitely. But you do find that some of the content that I've been sharing sort of blurs over into other of the certifications as well, because people say to me that they've taken SC 400 and some of my content on Purview was helpful. So it's all cool stuff. But
there's stuff around identity and access that could probably bleed over into the 300 and as well. But I noticed that from that standpoint. But that's no different than like if you're doing an AZ 104. For the Azure Architect, the AZ 500 bleeds, content from that bleeds into it too. So security is horizontal; it's not vertical.
Definitely.
I'm stealing that from today. We were going through a slide deck about something, and that was one thing that my boss stated. He's like, one thing we got to remember when we're talking about the cloud adoption is that security is horizontal across it all.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm subscribing right now.
Oh, thank you so much, Annie.
Yeah,
new subscriber.
I'm gonna
new subscriber alert. Welcome to the channel.
Thanks. I like your little background too.
Yeah, my wife took all of those photos as well. So
I love the thumbnails. I did an SC 300 with Shabazz Dar, and
great guy.
He always puts really fun thumbnails on the YouTube videos when he does. He's always like pointing at a cloud or something like that.
Yeah, he's got a great channel as well. You need to subscribe to that one. And
I am IT Geek. That's the one.
Yeah. Great guy.
We did a whole series where we went through the SC 300. So
him and I did 2 sessions or two series on the Azure VMware Solution and Identity Governance. So he's always down to collaborate and build video content, and he's always I don't know how he does it, because he has a family and he's got kids that are younger, so he figures out a way to do it.
Need to get Shabazz on connecting in the cloud.
Yeah. Maybe that could be one of the ones we can get him on.
Let's reach out to Shabazz. I haven't talked to Shabazz in a while, so it'd be good to get him involved here. So, well, thank you again, Peter. Appreciate it.
So great to meet you. Yeah, loved it.
Thanks for connecting in the clouds with us.
Anytime, and all the best with your channel. I will certainly publicize it and share and all that good stuff. So
sounds good.
Nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and thanks everybody that joined us live, and anybody that's watching on the recording on the YouTube channel. Again, that's Connecting in the Clouds YouTube channel. It's Connecting in the Clouds Twitch. I think our Twitter is a little bit different. And I'll find that. Let me find that here. It's Connect in Cloud, just because of the length that Twitter wouldn't take it all. So, but anyway, thanks everybody. We'll end this broadcast now, and have a great rest of your day. And we'll talk soon.
All right,
sounds good.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye
Cheers.
now.